Hello, good morning. Hi. Good morning. Hi, people online. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hi. Yes. How is life? What? How is life? Good. Are you all done with your AS service? Everyone? Anyone who didn't do the AS exam? You didn't do. You didn't do. All the others have done it. How was it? How was it? You did well? Was it too easy? So when are you getting your results? 17th August or 18th? 17th, correct. 17th. Yeah. Putting it with you. Guys online, please check your mails whether you have got it. Okay. Right. So guys, certain parts of AS levels that you will be needing for A2 as well. Not a lot, but yes, certain parts, certain basic principles that you will have to carry on to A2 levels as well. So it's not something that you can complete AS and completely forget about AS. You have done the AS exam, but certain parts of AS level knowledge you will need it to continue A2 levels. Okay. Even the topic that we have, A2 levels, just like for AS levels that you had 3 units, 1, 2, 3. For A2 levels, you will have 3 units. You know it. Units 4, 5, 6. Okay. So guys, unit 4 and 5. What is unit 4? What is there in unit 4? Have you checked? For the momentum. For the mechanics. Yeah. Let me quickly take you through the syllabus. Right. So guys, the unit 4, you will have further mechanics and electric and magnetic fields. So those are the 2 topics that you will be having for unit 4 and nuclear physics. Right. Those are the 3 areas for unit 4. So you have already done mechanics for AS level. So this is further mechanics. So that is what I told you. You will need your AS level knowledge a bit for A2 levels as well. We will have to continue from there. So you should know what is momentum. We will continue with what is further parts of momentum, right? So likewise, you will need the AS level knowledge to continue with A2. And if you have already given your AS notes to someone, please go home and collect it today. Okay. And yes, electric and magnetic fields. Electric and magnetic fields is again nothing new to you. You haven't done it for AS levels, but you have done it for O levels. Whether you have done Cambridge or Edexcel, it doesn't matter. In both, you have done about electric and magnetic fields. So it will be a continuation of that. Right, so you will need to have a basic idea about electric and magnetic fields. And then once again, nuclear physics is again something that you have done for your O levels. You haven't done it for AS levels. That you will be doing for unit 4, right? And then guys, unit 5, there are much more interesting topics in unit 5. I'm not going to talk about it. So we'll start with unit 4. Okay. So the first topic that we are starting today is further mechanics. Write down the topic. Further mechanics. Right. Anyone here new to class who was not there for AS levels? Anyone new? You're new. Okay. Right. So those who are not there, this is how it will be done. Listen, guys. So I usually don't refer the textbook. Okay. My guideline is the syllabus. Listen. My guideline, the boundary that I set for you in the class is the syllabus. So I will be 100% parallel with the syllabus. I don't follow the textbook in general. Certain areas, yes, very few areas I will check the textbook. So if you have a textbook, that's fine. But if you don't have a textbook, that's still fine. Okay, you're not forced to buy a textbook. That's okay. And the other thing is, for each topic, you will be getting a tube. That tube doesn't have any other questions, no textbook question. It has only past paper questions, right? And there will be a barcode at the bottom of the page. You will see there's a barcode. Each page, you will see a barcode. If you scan that barcode, you will get to see from which paper, what is the question number, and which past paper the question belongs to. Okay, right. Fine. Guys, write down the subtopic. Impulse. Impulse. Okay. What is an impulse? Definitely you have heard the term impulse. No? But what is an impulse? What is a force? Yeah. You. What is a force? Yeah. You wanted to answer, right? No. What is a force? A push or a pull, very simply. The definition of force is, okay, if you someone asks you what is a force, if you a push or a pull is a force. Force is measured in what? Newton. What is impulse? What is impulse? No. Because now if you're, that is an impulse. That is an impulse. Okay, what is that? You apply a force for a certain time. The product of the force and time is what you call the impulse. I repeat, the product of the force and time is the impulse. Now let's say I apply 10 newtons, and then my palm is in contact with the table for let's say 0.2 seconds. Then the impulse is that 10 newtons into 0.2. Product of force and time is what you call? Will you mean? You had your breakfast? Good. What is impulse? Product of force and time. Force is measured in what? Newton. Time is measured in what? Then the impulse is measured in what? Newton seconds, Newton into seconds, Newton seconds. Okay. There's an alternative unit as well. Right. Take it down. When a force acts on an object, when a force acts on an object, for a short time, when a force acts on an object for a short time, it is known as an impulse. It is known as an impulse. Full stop. It is a product of the force and time. It is a product of the force and time. And then guys, take down this. A force of F is acting on an object for a time t. Then the impulse is denoted by I. I equals F into T. Correct. Impulse is also equal to change in. I'll come back to that later. Write down a question. A force of 100 newtons. A force of 100 newtons acts on an object. Acts on an object for 0.02 seconds. Full stop. Calculate the impulse acting on it. Calculate the impulse acting on it. Right, so it will be just the product of force and time, 100 into 0.02, that is 2 Newton seconds. Okay, right on the next one. A force of 2000 newtons. A force of 2000 newtons acts on an object. Acts on an object for a time of 25 milliseconds. 25 milliseconds. Full stop. Calculate the impulse acting on it. Yeah, how much is that? Yeah, so you have to convert the milliseconds to seconds. No, 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. So to convert milliseconds to seconds, we have to divide by 1000. So it will be 2000 into 25 over 1000, which is 50 Newton seconds. Correct? Right. Guys, what is Newton's first law? A bit louder. Yeah, halfway there. Can someone tell me what is Newton's first law?
Stationary objects will remain stationary until the external forces being applied, and objects which is moving in a constant moving in a constant velocity and the external forces.
Good. External force. Resultant force. Very good. So what does it say? When there is no resultant force acting on an object, the object will be either at rest or it will be moving at constant velocity. That is the simplest form of Newton's first law I can give you. when there is no resultant force acting on an object, when there is no resultant force acting on an object, so object will be either stationary or it will be moving at a constant velocity. Correct? What is Newton's second law? F equals ma, where F is the resultant force, m is the mass of the object, a is the acceleration. There's another form of Newton's second law that we have learned in AS levels. Something to do with momentum and something. A rate of change of something. Can't you remember? Resultant force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of momentum. Right? That we have learned and we have derived that equation as well for AS levels. Resultant force acting on an object is equal to its rate of change of momentum. The rate at which the momentum is changing is equal to the force, the resultant force acting on the object. So now using that, there is something a little bit more that we can derive for the impulse. So guys, now let's say there is an object. Okay, this object has a mass m, moving at a velocity u, and you apply a force F for a time t. Okay, for a time t, you apply a force, and then what happens? Let's say the velocity increases to v. Okay, so then according to Newton's second law, F equals mv minus mu over t. Correct? Resultant force is equal to rate of change of momentum. Mv is the final momentum, minus mu is the initial momentum. So mv minus mu is the change in momentum, over t is the time taken. So the resultant force is equal to rate of change of momentum. Correct? So if I cross multiply F into t is equal to mv minus mu. Now, according to your latest theory, what is F into t? F into t? Impulse. What is mv minus mu? Change in momentum. So which means the impulse acting on an object is also equal to what? Its change in momentum. Did I answer your question? So the impulse acting on an object is equal to its change in momentum. Momentum is measured in what? What is the unit of momentum? Kg ms minus 1 kilogram meters per second, or it can also be measured in Newton seconds. So which means impulse can also be measured in what? Either Newton seconds or kilogram meters per second. Is that clear? Right. So what you do is take this down. Okay, right. Make a small point under that. The impulse acting on an object, is equal to its change in momentum. Okay. Right. Try that another question. A force of 400 newtons. A force of 400 newtons. A force of 400 newtons acts on a stationary 5-kilogram object. Acts on a stationary 5-kilogram object for 50 milliseconds. For 50 milliseconds. Full stop. Calculate part A. Impulse acting on the object. Part B. Part B. Speed of the object after applying the force. Speed of the object after applying the force. Can you? Right. So guys, impulse acting on the object will be force into time. So the impulse will be, force is 400 into time is 50 milliseconds, which is 50 into 10 to the power minus 3 to convert milliseconds to seconds. So which will be 20 Newton seconds. Correct? Impulse is 20. So to see the speed of the object after applying the force, the impulse is equal to the change in momentum. So the change in momentum will be final momentum minus initial momentum. So the final momentum is 5 into the final velocity. That is final momentum. minus the initial momentum is 0. Correct? Why 0? Because it was stationary, speed is 0. So the final momentum minus initial momentum is a change in momentum that is supposed to be equal to the impulse, and the impulse we have found it to be 20. Correct? So 5v minus 0 means 5v. 5v is 20. So v equals 20 divided by 5. 4 meters per second. Okay. Yes. Have you got this answer? If you have any questions, yes, you can ask. People online, hello. Are you awake still? Hi. Please tell me hi if you're awake. Hello. Hi. Nice. Hi. Yeah, guys, holding get the tube. Right, okay. Right now the next question. Question 2. Guys, draw this diagram. An object, mass 4 kilogram, moving at a speed of 2 meters per second, and the force is 300 newtons. Draw the object. And then write down a question under that. A force of 300 newtons. A force of 300 newtons acts on an object. Acts on an object of mass 4 kilograms, which is moving at 2 meters per second. Comma, for a time of 50 milliseconds. Okay. A force of 300 newtons acts on an object of mass 4 kilogram, which is moving at 2 meters per second, comma, for a time of 50 milliseconds. Full stop. Calculate part A. The impulse acting on the object. The impulse acting on the object. Part B. Velocity of the object after applying the force. Pretty much similar to the previous one. Give a try. Done. Right. So there's a force of 300 newtons acting on the object for 50 milliseconds. So the impulse acting on the object will be what? Force into time. No? Force is 300 into time is 50 milliseconds. That is 15 to 10 to the power minus 3. Correct? So that will be 15 Newton seconds. That is the impulse acting. Yes. So once again, guys, the velocity of the object after applying the force means impulse is equal to the change in momentum. So the final momentum is 4 into V. The final momentum minus the initial momentum is 4 into 2. 4 into V, the final momentum, minus 4 into 2, the initial momentum. That difference is the change in momentum, which is equal to what? 15. So 4 into V is 4V. 4 into 2 is 8. That is equal to 15. So 4V equals, take the minus 8 to the other side, 15 plus 8 is 23. So V equals 23 divided by 4, that is 5.75. Have you got this? Any questions? Anyone? Right. Right to the next one. Draw the diagram. Newton force acting on a 2 kilogram object, which is moving at a speed of 5 meters per second. Right? A force of 100 newtons. A force of 100 newtons. Acts on a 2 kilogram object. Acts on a 2 kilogram object, which is moving at 5 meters per second. Which is moving at 5 meters per second. Come on. For a time of 0.2 seconds. For a time of 0.2 seconds. Full stop. Calculate part A. Impulse acting on the object. Part B. The speed of the object after applying the force. Okay, done, right? So impulse is, guys, force into time, 100 newtons acting for a time of 0.2 seconds. 100 into 0.2, that is 20 newton seconds. That's the impulse. So to find the final speed, so the final momentum is 2 into v minus the initial momentum is 2 into 5. That is equal to the impulse change in momentum, which is 20. So 2v minus 10 equals 20. 2v equals 30. V equals 15 meters per second. Correct? Any questions, anyone? Right. One last question. But this is a bit different, slightly different from the previous three. Draw this diagram, guys. Question 4. The difference in this question, as per the diagram, what I see is the 5 kilogram object is moving to the right with a speed of 10 meters per second. But the force is applied 200 newtons to the left. Am I right? In the previous couple of questions that we did, the force was applied in the direction the object was moving, and you got to see the velocity increase. So use your common sense and tell me, here the velocity should increase or decrease? Decrease, because the force is applied against the direction of motion. Draw the diagram. Five kilogram object moving at 10 meters per second. There is a resistive force of 200 newtons. Right under that. An object of mass 5 kilograms. An object of mass 5 kilograms is moving at a speed of 10 meters per second. Full stop. A force of 200 newtons. A force of 200 newtons acts on the object in the opposite direction for a time of 20 milliseconds. Full stop. Calculate. Part A. The impulse acting on the object. Part B, velocity of the object after the force is applied. Give a try. What's your answer? Part B. 9.2. With the opposite direction. No. What is your answer? 9.2 to the left. Who got this 9.2 figure? To the right or left? Right or left? Confirm. Sure. That's your final answer. Can I lock your answer? 9.2 to the right. Others? Right. To the right. Now here see, guys, the impulse is force into time. The force is 200. Time is 20 milliseconds. That's 20 into 10 to the power minus 3, which is 4 Newton seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong. Impulse is 4 Newton seconds. Okay. Guys, now what is the initial momentum? 5 into 10. Initial momentum is 50 Newton seconds. Okay. What is the final momentum? What is the final momentum? My dear darling students, the initial momentum is 50 Newton seconds. The impulse acting on this object is 4 Newton seconds. Impulse is equal to the change in momentum. Correct? So that means the momentum will change by 4 Newton seconds. Initial momentum is 50 Newton seconds. Then what is the final momentum? 46. 46. Correct? That 46 is to the right or left? Right. Because it was 50 to the right. It reduces by 4. So it will become 46 to the right. So the final momentum is 50 minus 4. 46 Newton seconds still to the right. Agree? Okay. Then the final velocity will be mass into velocity, the 5 into the final velocity. That is supposed to be 46. So the V is equal to 46 divided by 5. 9.2 meters per second. That's still to the right. Okay.
So when you start the equation, if you put the horizontal to the right hand,
No, this is just one way of doing it.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want and get this answer 9.2, that's fine. If you do it the way that we did earlier.
so like when we start writing it, we can write
To the right, yeah, correct. You don't have to do so. Okay, now tell me this. What are the practical situations that you get to see an impulse in your day-to-day life or when you're watching something? Where do you see impulses? Give me one example of an impulse. Are we from the same planet? You haven't seen impulses in your day-to-day life? During collisions. What sort of collisions are you talking about? Huh? Give me a simple example, man. Huh? A car crash. Okay, fine. That is a simple example. You see car crashes every day in your life. I asked a simple example that you see, that's freely available for you to see. Huh? Have you all, do you know there's a sport called football? Have you all seen people playing it? Have you seen a football? Have you touched it? Have you kicked it? Have you kicked it? Have you kicked ball? Football? So what do you do there? Kick. What is that? That's an impulse. That's an impulse. The force that you apply the force with your foot for a very short time, not even 1/10 of a second that your foot is in contact with the ball, and you give an impulse. Its momentum changes. Give me another simple example. Cricket. Have you seen people playing cricket? Yes. So when you bat, the ball comes in one direction. This man holding the bat will hit, and the ball is in contact with the bat for a very short time, few milliseconds, and then the ball came in one direction and it travels in another direction. What is happening there? Momentum changing. Why is the momentum changing? Because of an impulse. So the impulse is equal to what? Change in momentum. There's the same example that I gave you now, the question 4. Now it came in a direction at a speed of 10 meters per second, and you apply a force, and then you reduce the speed to 9.2. In the same case, do you think we can make this 5-kilogram object move in the opposite direction? Yes, possible. What do you need to do? Increase the impulse. Okay. So what was the initial momentum? 50. No. If you can give an impulse of more than 50, you can make it move in the opposite direction. Here the impulse we gave is only 4. Get it? So if you can give an impulse more than 50, it will move in the opposite direction. Correct? Let's say you give an impulse. What will happen? Someone told it. It will become stationary. Correct? It is coming at a momentum of 50. You give an impulse of 50 in the opposite direction. You can stop the figure. Okay. Or if you give more than 50, it will travel in the opposite direction. Agree? Fine. So that is about impulse. So understand what is impulse. It is a product of force and the time for which the force is acting. And it is measured in kilogram meters per second or Newton seconds. And the impulse is equal to the change of momentum. Right? Any questions? Okay, fine. Right on the next subtopic. Principle of conservation of linear momentum. Principle of conservation of linear momentum. In 2D. What is 2D? 2 dimension. Right? Wait. Have you met this fellow before? Conservation of linear momentum? Yes, we did it for AS levels. But guys, AS levels, we did conservation of linear momentum in 1D, in one direction. Ball comes and collides and the other one moves, or they combine together and move. No, we did questions like that for AS levels. So now we are going to talk about the conservation of linear momentum in 2D. So I can give you, have you all played pool or snooker? Are there any good pool players here? Anyone can play? Nice to know. So guys, when you let's say there is a ball here, object here, there's another one here. This go and collides on this in such a way, the M2 moves in this direction and the M1 moves in this direction. So now the motion is not one direction. It's on a plane, not just 1D, it's 2D. It's two-dimensional. So now we are going to deal here with the conservation of linear momentum. We are going to see how it is applied for 2D conditions. Okay. Draw this diagram. Okay, right under that. In this case, the principle of conservation of linear momentum should be applied in two perpendicular directions. Should be applied in two perpendicular directions. Okay. Right. Guys, how many of you can't remember what is principle of conservation of linear momentum? It's okay. Tell me the truth. Put your hands up. So everyone can remember what is conservation of linear momentum, right? Correct, no? Simply, in a collision, in a particular direction, the total momentum of the system before the collision is equal to the total momentum of the system after the collision. Very simple law. Okay. In a particular direction, the total momentum before the collision is equal to total momentum after the collision. So the questions that you have done on linear momentum were based on that. Okay, you consider the total momentum before, total momentum after, and equal that, then find the mass or velocity or whatever that you had done is based on that. Theory is that. So now the thing is, now we have to do it in two perpendicular directions, not in just one direction. That is the difference. I'll explain you with an example. Right, draw this diagram, guys. Okay, let me explain the diagram first. Look at this. Question 1. There is a 3 kilogram object moving at a speed of 10 meters per second. And there is a 2 kilogram object which is stationary. That is initial case. Initially. And then the collision happens. And after the collision, look at this. What has happened? The 3 kilogram object is moving at a velocity of v1. Okay. And this 2 kilogram object is moving at a velocity of v2. and look at their directions, the 3 kilogram object is making an angle of 40 degrees with the initial direction. And the 2 kilogram object is making an angle of 30 degrees with the initial direction. Please draw it. Okay, write down the question. An object of mass 3 kilogram. An object of mass 3 kilogram moves at a speed of 10 meters per second and collides with a 2 kilogram stationary object. An object of mass 3 kilogram moves at a speed of 10 meters per second and collides with a 2 kilogram stationary object. Full stop. Its direction after collision, its directions after collision is as per the diagram. Full stop. Calculate their speeds after the collision. Guys, read the question, I will do it. Okay. Right. So now what we do here is we apply principle of conservation of linear momentum in two perpendicular directions. Right. Now, if I apply the principle of conservation of linear momentum to the right in this direction, the total momentum before the collision is 3 into 10. Agree? Only this fellow has a momentum 3 into 10. The momentum of 2 kilogram is 0. Okay. After collision, the momentum in that direction will be 3 into V1 into cos 40 plus 2 into V2 cos 30. Yes or no? You remember how to take the component of a vector So this momentum of this object is 3 into v1. That is in a direction given like this. No? So its momentum to the right will be 3 into v1 cos 40. Am I right? Yes, you have to resolve the vector. So the momentum of this particle after the collision is 2 into v2. So its momentum in this direction will be 2 into v2 cos 30. Agree? Yes. Wait. Now there are two unknowns, v1 and v2. You can't find it with one equation. We need another equation. So that equation I will apply in this direction, perpendicular to the initial direction. Okay. So guys, in that direction, perpendicular to the initial direction, can you tell me what is the initial momentum? 0. Nice. There was absolutely nothing in that direction. The initial momentum was in this direction. So in a direction perpendicular to that, the momentum is 0. So the initial momentum in the direction that I'm considering now, initial momentum is 0. Can someone tell me what is the final momentum? 3 into v1 into sine 40. Very good. Minus
2kg
yes,
v2
yes,
sin 30.
excellent. Can you also tell me why it was minus?
Because it's going in the other direction.
Very good. So guys, the momentum of this fellow, 3 into v1, in this direction it will be 3 into v1 sine 40. Some people are giving me that look like you have never seen resolving a vector. Please go home and revise immediately if you can't remember how to resolve a vector. Okay, that's the alphabet of AS levels that you have learned. This is 3 into v1 is the momentum is this direction. So in this direction it will be 3 into v1 sine 40. Similarly, the momentum of this one is 2 into v2. Its momentum in this direction will be 2 into v2 sine 30. Since we are considering in this direction, in the downward direction, the momentum will be negative. So that's how it becomes minus 3 into v1 sine 40 minus 2 into v2 sine 30. Now it's a simultaneous equation. You can solve it and find the v1 and v2. Yes. Do you know that you can use a calculator to solve the simultaneous equation? Using this calculator, you can solve simultaneous. Yes. Input the necessary inputs and get the v1 and v2. Go ahead. These are the v1 and v2 values I am getting. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if there's anyone who doesn't know to use a calculator to solve the simultaneous equation, you can ask for help. Yes. Ready to get this? Guys online, hello. by any chance, if you are having a calculator like this, okay, if you are having a calculator like this, FX991ES or FX991ES plus, both are the same. You press this mode button, okay. Under that number 5, you will see EQN, which is for equations. There's so much you can do with this calculator. If you can spend 1% of the time that you spend on social media, you will be able to learn a lot. Okay, don't spend more than that. Just 1% of your time that you spend on social media is enough for the calculator, or maybe sometimes even less is enough. So under that, you will find this ax plus by equals c, ax plus by plus c equals d, ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. So you can solve simultaneous equations with 2 unknowns, 3 unknowns, quadratic equations, cubic equations, all are possible. Okay. So we want to solve the simultaneous equation with 2 unknowns. No. So the first line, ax plus by equals c. Press number 1. Then there will be 2 rows to put the inputs of the 2 equations. So the first line is for the first equation, second line is for the second equation. So in the first equation, the 2 variables are now v1 and v2. No, v1 is 3 into cos 40 v1, right? So the coefficient of v1 is 3 cos 40. So I will put 3 cos 40 and press equal. Then you will be taken to the next one. Then for v2, the coefficient is 2 cos 30. So 2 cos 30 equal. And then that is equal to 3 into 10, 30, right? So the value of c is 30. Then you will be taken to the next equation. In the next equation, the coefficient of v1 is 3 sine 40. 3 sine 40. Coefficient of v2 is minus 2 sine 30. Minus 2 sine 30 equal. And in the second equation, the number on the other side of the equation is 0. So put 0 and equal. And press the, now you have input everything correct. Press the equal sign again. The first variable that you are getting x is the first variable in our equation, which is v1. 5.3208 blah blah blah. Press equal again, you will get the second variable, which is 10.26. Try again. You don't have to manually solve. Even that is not visible. Straight away you can save a lot of time. Okay. Okay. Right, guys, try one more question. Draw this diagram. Okay, let me tell you what is happening here. There is a 3 kilogram object moving at a speed of 5 meters per second, 4 kilogram object moving at a speed of 3 meters per second, and then the collision happens. And after the collision, these are their directions. This is 35 degrees. This is 40 degrees. Sorry? Yeah, sure. Guys, write down the question. No, I'm not going to narrate the question. Don't need no. So you have to find the V1 and V2. Can you find the V1 and V2? Done. What's V1 and V2?
V1 is 4.4, right?
Hmm?
V2 is 5.8.
Is it? Others? People online, hello, can I know your figures? What are V1 and V2 values? Hmm. What are your V1, V2 values?
4.08.
Let's see. Yeah. V1 is 4.49, V2 is 5.34. Anyone needs help with this? Please put your hands up. If you need any help, please ask. If you have any questions. People at the back, the last row. Hello. Hi. Is everything under control? Yes. Right. Guys, then write down the next subtopic. Elastic collisions. Elastic collisions. Guys, what is an elastic collision? Any idea? Have you heard? What is the fine? Elastic collision is, listen. Guys, in general, when a collision happens, now let's say two particles are colliding. Before the collision, they both have kinetic energy. Okay, they have a total kinetic energy. During the collision, listen, if the total kinetic energy of the system remains unchanged, then you call it a what? Elastic collision. Let me repeat. In a collision, if the total kinetic energy of the system remains unchanged, if the total kinetic energy of the system remains constant, then you call it a what? Elastic collision. Otherwise, you call it a what? Inelastic collision. So what is an inelastic collision? Collision in which the kinetic energy will be reduced. Right under that. In a closed system, if a collision happens, in a closed system, if a collision happens, and if the total kinetic energy of the system remains unchanged, in a closed system, if a collision happens, comma, and if the total kinetic energy of the system remains unchanged, then it is known as an elastic collision. Then it is known as an elastic collision. Full stop. If the kinetic energy of the system reduces, then it is known as an inelastic collision. An inelastic collision. What is an elastic collision? Collision in which the kinetic energy remains constant. Okay, right, guys, you can go for a small break. See you in 15 minutes. Ah. Did you all have breakfast? Did you all eat? No? So during the break, you didn't eat? Huh? Guys, is this Saturday morning 9 too early?
Yeah, of course.
Too early? Why?
So waking up at 7:30 on Saturday is too much.
But what to do? Life is not a bed of roses. Okay, you have to accept it. Anyway, in the future, this 9 will become gradually 8. Step by step. From 9, we will make it 8:45, 8:45, 8:30. Okay. Guys, take the tube. Take the tube. Question number 2. Question number 2. State the principle of conservation of momentum. What is principle of conservation of momentum? In a closed system, listen. In a closed system, the total momentum is conserved, or the total momentum is constant, right? In a closed system, the total momentum is conserved. By any chance, if you can't remember, please go home and immediately check today about momentum that we have done for AS levels. Right, part B. The spreadsheet modeled an elastic collision between object A and object B. It's not given to scale, okay? Just a random diagram is given for you to understand what's happening. The spreadsheet shows the initial values and final values when the student tested the model, okay? So guys, there are 5 columns. If you go through it, you will see the object A has a mass of 0.85 kilograms. I will mark it on the diagram for my convenience. Object B has a mass of 1.7 kilograms. And magnitude of the velocities are given. Initial value for A is 1.3 meters per second. Initial value for B is 0. It is at rest before the collision. After the collision, the figures are given. For A, it is 0.98 meters per second. For B, it is 0.54 meters per second. These are the mass and velocity values given. Okay. And they also speak about the direction, angle of velocity to x direction, along the x direction. So obviously, initially, objects A and B, they don't have a angle because they are moving to the right. A is moving to the right and B is stationary. So the angles are given 0, you can see here. After the collision, the final values, the angles are given along with the x direction. For A, it is 54.5 degrees. A 54.5. This is 54.5. For B, it is minus 48 degrees. That is because it is below the x-axis. That is what they have referred here by minus 48. So this angle is 48 degrees. You can just mark it 48 degrees. This is the data given. Correct? So I have marked everything in the diagram. Now the question is, deduce whether the values show an elastic collision. Now we have to check whether it is an elastic collision or not. How do you do that? Calculate the total kinetic energy of the system before the collision, and then calculate the total kinetic energy of the system after the collision. See whether they are equal. Yes. So guys, before the collision, the total kinetic energy, B doesn't have a kinetic energy, only A has a kinetic energy, which will be, I will take it as E1 half mv square, half into 0.85 into 1.3 square. That will give you the kinetic energy before the collision. A has a mass of 0.85 and a speed of 1.3. So half into 0.85 into 1.3 square. Okay. And E2, the total kinetic energy after the collision, both A and B have a kinetic energy. So half into 0.85 into the velocity is 0.98. 0.98 square plus half into 1.7 into 0.54 square. Half into 1.7 into 0.54 square. Okay. Both A and B have kinetic energy. Check the values. This I'm getting 0.718. 25 joules. For the E2, I'm getting 0.65603. You can take it to 3SF, 0.718 and 0.656. Is it what you're getting? Deduce whether values show an elastic collision. What is your conclusion? No, there's a significant difference in the kinetic energy before and after. No? So conclusion you can write, no. No. There is a significant difference. There is a significant difference between the initial kinetic energy and the final kinetic energy of the system. right? The next one, deduce whether the values show the conservation of momentum. Deduce whether the values show the conservation of momentum. So how do we check that one? It's a 5 mark again. Listen to me. Now it's a 2D collision. We have to consider the momentum conservation in 2 perpendicular directions. So if I consider the momentum P1 to the right before the collision. What is the momentum before the collision to the right? 0.85 into 1.3. 0.85 into 1.3. 0.85 into 1.3, that is 1.105 Newton seconds. Then in the same direction, I will check the P2 after collision, the momentum. After collision, the momentum in that direction will be 0.85 into 0.98 into cos 54.5 plus 1.7 into 0.54 into cos 48. Okay, let me check that value. Which is 1.097. I can take it as 1.1, no? Yeah, to 2 significant figures. 1.10 Newton seconds. So 3 significant figures. So P1 before the collision is 1.105, after collision is 1.10. That is almost conserved. You can consider it to be conserved. Am I right? There's a small difference. Those are practical errors, but his practical is to see whether the momentum is conserved. So if you ignore that practical errors, yes, I would say along the x direction, it makes sense. Okay, along the x direction, the momentum is conserved. You're not done there. You have to consider the conservation of momentum along the y direction as well. Along the y direction, what is the initial momentum? Along the y direction, what is the initial momentum? 0. There's no momentum initially, so I'll take it as 0. So along the y direction, what is the final momentum? 0.85 into 0.98. 0.85 into 0.98 into what? Sine 54.5. Then plus or minus? Minus 1.7 into 0.54. Into sine 48, no? That will give you the total momentum after the collision in the y direction. Check that value. 0.85, 0.98, sine 54.5, minus 1.7, 0.54, sine 48. How much is that? Minus 0.0040. Correct? Which is almost 0. Agree? So initial momentum in the y direction is 0. Final momentum in the y direction is also 0. So that means the momentum is conserved. So my conclusion here will be, deduce the values of these values show the conservation of momentum. Yes, momentum is conserved. in both X and Y direction. Okay. Right. If you have any questions, you can ask. Momentum is Newton seconds, right? Or kgm is -1, both are correct. Kilogram meters per seconds or Newton seconds, both are correct. Right, any questions, anyone? Right. Any questions? Right. Now guys, tell me, what is your expectation in doing A-levels? What are you expecting? Why have you chosen to do physics? Why did you choose to do physics? You don't know, you're just doing it. He is doing, she is doing, that my neighbor is doing, my cousin is doing, second cousin is doing, so I have to do physics. Or your parents force you to do. Why are you doing physics? Huh? What? I didn't hear that. You love physics, nice. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Others, why do you do physics? Why did you choose to do physics?
One stage, you know,
That's a good answer. So why are you doing physics? What is your impression about physics during AS levels? Do you like it? No? I mean, okay, fine. I'll put the question this way. What do you want to do after A levels? Give me a genuine answer. Just tell it's okay. What do you want? Do medicine. You? Medicine. Huh? Don't know. You? You? Medicine. Genetics. You? You mean genetical engineering? You won't just say genetics. I was thinking whether you're going to make genes or something. You? Sorry? You haven't thought about it. Then why are you doing physics? You? You? IT. Medicine. You? Just something. Medicine. Don't lie. How many times you have told me you want to do medicine? You're shy. Or you felt like there are too many doctors, there's too much competition, I want to change. Okay, fine. So guys, obviously you have something to do with medicine or engineering or something IT based. So obviously you need physics, that is why you have chosen. So some of you people did the AS levels well. Some of you people may not have done it. And you might be having a bad impression about it. But if you're having a bad impression about the AS level physics, if you feel it's hard, I would say A2 levels will be a bit more challenging. Okay. But I'll tell you also this. If you have found it hard AS levels, The most obvious reason is you are not organized. Okay. Definitely you need the skill. Okay. I believe that everyone has a skill. That is why you want to continue with physics now. Otherwise you would have dropped physics by now. You have already been doing it for a year or more. Still you want to continue with physics means I believe that you have the necessary skill to do it. You have that brain capacity to do it. Then guys, not only in A-levels, even after that, if you see any successful person in the career, the most important tool is, yes, skill is needed, but more than the skill, I would say, the most successful people are the best organized people. Think about it and see. Who is the best cricketer you have seen? Who is the best football player you have seen? Okay, Messi or fine chance. Do you really think, okay, let's say Ronaldo. Okay, let's say Ronaldo. Do you really think he is the most skillful football player in the world? I don't believe in that. He is not. Not even Messi or not anyone. The most skillful football player, he might have never entered football in the international level. He might be playing football in some street now. I'm serious. The reason is the most successful people or the most accomplished people with the skill, the most important thing is how you carry yourself, how organized you are. That's what takes you to the next level. That's what makes you a professional person. Even if you see a cricketer or a football player or a musician or an actor or a singer or the best doctor that you have seen or the most successful engineers are not the most skillful people. The skill alone will not take you anywhere. Okay? The skill alone will not take you anywhere. Just take this very seriously, guys. On the very first day, I'm telling you on the A2 class, if you want to produce the best possible result that you can produce at the A level, yes, you need the skill. More than that, I would say you have to be really well organized. Okay? You can't just play the fool for the next 6-7 months and start studying in the month of January and February and expect miracles to happen. Okay? It won't happen that way. It is the discipline that you need to carry forward for the next 12 months or 11 months. You should have that discipline, commitment you need to have. The self-discipline at this age will decide your future, to be very honest. Okay? You can't play the fool, you can't party, you can't do whatever you want at any time and expect your future to be very successful. That can happen for less than 0.1% of the people if they are really lucky. The general truth is you have to be well organized. You need to have that self-discipline. So if you are not going to depend on your parents in the future, if you are going to build a career for yourself, this is the age that you have to put the foundation. Definitely, you can't deny the fact the A-level will make an impact for most of the people. Not 100%, but most of the people, yes, A-level will make an impact, a considerable impact. It could be the foundation of your life most of the time. So guys, this A-level, most of the time it will change it will be the life change in your life. So it's worth the effort that you put in the next 11 months. Okay. The sacrifices that you have to make, not big, but the thing is you need to have this self-discipline. That's something I always believe in. If there is a timetable to study, you have to make a timetable to study. I always say you have to stick to that. If you have allocated 2 hours to study every day, you need to do that. That is what you call discipline. Okay. Whatever happens, I will do this. Whatever happens within the next 7 days, I will do my homework. Whatever happens within the next 7 days, I will do, okay, I will revise these things. So you need to have your own timetable. Don't expect someone else to put a timetable for you. You know what are your positive areas. You know what are the areas that you are lagging. So you need to make a timetable for yourself, depending on which subject needs more time and which subject needs less time. Based on that, you have to make a timetable. I'm telling you something that I did when I was an A-level student. I make a timetable every week. My week starts on Monday and ends on, starts on Monday morning and ends on Sunday night. So what I do is every week on Sunday night, I spend about 15-20 minutes and I make a timetable for the next 7 days. That is what I used to do. When I know, okay, I'm lagging this area, I'm lagging this, I put more effort on that. Okay. So you don't need to put so much effort. I did this local elements. Okay. You're coming to the class at 9 o'clock and you're complaining. I used to go to the class on Sunday mornings. The class starts at 6:30 and it's a 6 hour, 7 hour class. I leave home at 5:30. I wake up at 4:30. And my friends go to play cricket on Sunday mornings. I'm serious. So I used to keep telling myself, okay, do this just 2 years, just 2 years. I'm really happy that I did that actually. So I'm telling you guys, it's just 1 more year. Whenever you feel demotivated, just tell yourself, okay, I'm just doing it for 1 year, 10 months. That should be the pushing force. Okay. Whatever the sacrifices you have to make, sometimes you might not get to attend an event where your friends are going, the family is going. Okay. You might have to make small sacrifices for yourself. Okay. For your future. If you can't do that when you are not inconsistent with your discipline, then you can't expect yourself to do it. Okay. You can't, it is not just one event makes you successful. It's the collection of small things. That is what makes yourself in the future. Okay. So don't think too far. I'm giving you a program for the next 11 months. Make a timetable and most importantly, stick to that. Okay. Remember, everyone has the skill. Some people are really skillful. The skill is low. It varies person to person. But with this discipline that I'm talking about, you will be able to unlock the best version of yourself. Correct? You can't anyway get a skill that you don't naturally have. With the available resources, with the available skill that you have, you should try to unlock the best self of yours. I mean, best possible, you should try to elevate yourself to the best possible level. Simple. To do that, be consistent. Okay. So with respect to physics, I tell you, there are certain parts in physics, guys. It's not so interesting. There are certain topics, yes, interesting. Personally, for me, there are certain areas I really love to study, read. There are certain areas that I don't like much. But can't help, if I have to do well at the exam, you need to do everything. That is not only with physics, in any career, any profession, it is there. You won't only get to do things on what you like to do. If you want to continue with doing things that you like to do, you will have to do certain things that you don't like to do. Okay. This thing that I heard from Kumar Sangakkar, you all know him. Yes, a world famous cricketer. Once he was telling in a speech, he loves to play cricket. He loves, obviously. But if you want to play cricket continuously, he was telling 5 days or 6 days a week, he has to hit the gym for 1.5 to 2 hours. That is something he doesn't like to do. The torturing part of the day, that 1 hour or 2 hours. But if you want to play cricket for 10, 15 years, you need to go to the gym. You might hate to do it, can't help. You can't only do what you like to do. So if anyone has told, do what you like to do, BS, you can't do that, right? If you want to do what you like to do, you will have to do certain things that you don't like to do. Be consistent with that, have that self-discipline. Okay, understood, right? So the first thing to do, go home and make a timetable. Don't think, okay, I have 10 months. That 10 months will fly faster than you think, right? Fine, let's move on to another question and then we are done for the day. Question 4. Okay, in a game of snooker, a white ball and a black ball, of equal mass are on a horizontal table. A player hits the white ball, which then moves with a velocity of 1.2 meters per second. Before colliding with the black ball, the player hopes that the collision will knock the black ball towards the pocket at the corner of the table as shown. He is expecting it to go in that direction. After the collision, the velocity of the white ball was at 35 degrees to its original path, as shown below. This collision was inelastic. State what is meant by inelastic. Kinetic energy is not conserved, or kinetic energy reduces in the collision. Kinetic energy of the system. Kinetic energy of the system reduces in the collision.
But you want it to increase.
Sorry? Kinetic energy can't increase, right? Kinetic energy can never increase. No? For this situation, a scale vector diagram showing the velocities of the balls can be used to demonstrate the law of conservation of momentum. Listen carefully. For this situation, a scale vector diagram showing the velocities of the balls can be used to demonstrate the law of conservation of momentum. Guys, now, to show the law of conservation of momentum, you should be able to draw a vector diagram showing the momentum. But here they are saying a scale vector diagram showing the velocities of the balls can be used to demonstrate the law of conservation of momentum. Explain why. If you read the question carefully, you will get the answer. In a game of snooker, a white ball and a black ball of equal mass. Both balls have equal mass. So now for an example, listen, guys, listen. Now, if I consider the momentum in the x direction, okay? Before collision, the momentum is, don't write anything, m into 1.2. After collision, the momentum is, I will take it as black ball, velocity is, let's say v1, m into v1 into cos 50 or something, plus white ball is m into v2 into cos 35 or something. Listen to me. Since both the balls have the same mass, if I divide the equation with m, this m will cancel off now. So the momentum conservation becomes a what? A velocity conservation. You understand what I'm saying? Momentum is what? Conserved by the law. But this is a special case where both the balls have the same mass. So when both the balls have the same mass, the momentum conservation becomes what? Velocity conservation. Understand? That happens because what? Because both the balls have the same mass. Otherwise, it can't happen. Correct? So write the answer. Since both balls have equal mass, since both balls have equal mass, the velocity of the system will be conserved. Since both balls have equal mass, velocity of the system will be conserved. Okay. Right, guys, the part C, give a try for homework. We'll continue from this point on the next day. And there is one more question you can do for homework, which is question number 15. Yes, question number 15, do it for homework. We'll continue from this point on the next day. So that's it for the day. Have a nice week ahead. And just remember what I told and try to start working from today. Bye guys. See you. Take care. You're welcome. Bye. See you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye. See you. Take care.
We learned in principle of conservation momentum. We put a minus here. Can you explain how we got that minus?
Along the y direction, right?
Yeah.
So this has the y direction momentum and this one.
Yeah.
This has in this lane.
Yeah.
So opposite. Okay, that's why we come back. Yeah, new class. That's it. Okay. Right. Very useful learning. Right. Very useful learning. You. Guys, those who are not being added to the WhatsApp group, send me a message on WhatsApp. My number is. This is my number. Send me a message on WhatsApp. Thank you so much. Bye. See you. Bye. Welcome, see you. Welcome.